Hello there, a very good evening to you and many thanks for joining us on Rwanda Television News tonight. Happy Easter to those who are celebrating and a happy end of the month of March 2024. Welcome to tonight's edition. These are the headlines. Those who believe in the redemptive mission of Jesus Christ celebrated his resurrection on Easter on Sunday. Since the launch of a digital system to track children's immunization, 300 million Rwandan francs is saved every year. And to international matters, Pope Francis has called for an immediate ceasefire in the conflict between Israel and Hamas in Gaza. Good evening to you once again, and thanks for keeping us company on Rwanda Television News tonight. As we started off, those who believe in the redemptive mission of Jesus Christ celebrated his resurrection on Easter, today Sunday. For Christians, this celebration is a reminder of the call to make a positive difference in the lives of others, often reflected through various development activities aimed at serving and uplifting communities. Adam Squizera starts us off tonight.
The celebration of the Easter Sunday was preceded by Holy Mass, held in churches where believers recognized Jesus Christ as their King and Savior. During the services, songs conveying the message of Christ's resurrection are particularly emphasized, especially in Catholic churches. In churches across the city of Kigali, teachings have been emphasizing the significance of Christ's death and resurrection, recounting the profound history and spiritual significance of these events. This day particularly gives us hope that there is a resurrection, so that we have to behave as good Christians. Apostle Rwanda Charles, the pastor of UCC, holds the belief that Easter should inspire meaningful changes in individuals, fostering a desire for development and progress within nations. Even the Bible says that a blessed nation is one that have God. So when it has God and its people believes in God, it becomes more secure nation. As that was part of our 7-day prayers, where we've been praying for our country and as well as the upcoming elections. During the Easter Mass, Archbishop Antoine Cardinal Kambanda of Kigali Diocese asked Christians to prioritize love and selflessness over selfish interests. He emphasized the importance of strengthening the love of Christ, who exemplified compassion for all people. The root cause of these issues people face nowadays is selfishness and prioritizing the self-interest. Because when everyone behaves like that, I don't think people can link up together. That's where conflicts come from. So as Christ gave us the example of loving people, we should also follow that. Because when people reject God, even their relationship among them becomes totally difficult. The significance of the Passover traces back to the history of the Israelites, who endured over 430 years of captivity in Egypt. This day also commemorates the death and resurrection of Jesus Christ, which holds profound value for Christians, as they view it as a ransom for their salvation. Adam Squizera, RwandaTV News.
Over the past 30 years, the number of national parks in Rwanda has doubled, powering a significant increase in tourism revenue for the country. Currently, residents have become increasingly aware of the benefits of conservation and recognize their indispensable role in preserving the natural resources of the country. Adam Squizera continues.
Agnes Mukarubibi, a 35-year-old resident, serves as a tour guide for tourists to the Volcanoes National Park. However, for the past 30 years, her experience as a resident has been marred by the scourge of poaching. Our parents used to poach those wild animals and bring them meat at home. As for us, we used to practice deforestation, and we also thought that poaching activities was highly benefiting to us. Such activities, compounded by the aftermath of the genocide against Tutsi, have posed a significant threat to the integrity of the wildlife in national parks like Akagera, resulting in the disappearance and death of numerous wildlife species. In 2010, the Rwandan government entered into partnership with African parks to manage Akagera National Park. Since then, the significant strides have been made in its conservation efforts, resulting in increased security and the successful reintroduction of iconic Big Five wild animals, such as lions and rhinos. Currently, Akagera National Park boasts all of the Big Five wild animals, including elephants, lions, rhinos, buffaloes, and leopards. This remarkable achievement has led to a surge in tourist numbers exceeding tenfold compared to the 5,000 visitors recorded in 2010. These animals are also breeding, making them readily accessible for tourists, as they're frequently spotted within the park, as stated by Shaka Justice, a tour guide in Akagera National Park.
So, izo ntare rero kugeza uno munsi ziri kubarirwa muri 60.
Currently, we have over 60 lions, as that African parks also helped us to get rhinos, which were brought in 2017, for leopards, and now increasing in numbers significantly, whereas we now have approximately 100 leopards and 140 elephants, while currently we estimate over 2,500 buffaloes in the park. In just 14 years, the population of large mammals inhabiting Akagera National Park has surged from 5,000 to 13,000, underscoring the remarkable success of its conservation efforts. Furthermore, now the park is a home to over 300 species of birds. Akagera Park encompasses 10 lakes, with the largest one, Ihema, situated in the southern region of the park. Khadija Tlasisi, a Nigerian woman residing in the USA, was brought by her daughter to visit Akagera National Park. She expressed immense joy and satisfaction with her experience, stating that it left her eager to return next year.
I see them on TV, but now I see them natural, the elephant, the zebra, and I'm so glad and I'm so happy. And we go back to New York and tell my friend how Rwanda is so beautiful and nice, so we can come back for celebrate my 70th birthday next year. I'm so grateful for the president who made this place so beautiful and clean. Let God bless everybody in Rwanda.
In the last 30 years, Nyungwe was simply referred to as a forest of trees. However, in 2005, it was designated as a national park, safeguarding it from threats like poaching and deforestation. Today, Nyungwe Forest is recognized as a UNESCO World Heritage Site, encompassing an area of 1,019 square kilometers, whereas even the park has witnessed a surge in tourist numbers, which was also contributed by the construction of the Sky Bridge, whereas from just over 5,000 tourists in 2010, the park now hosts more than 24,000 tourists annually as of 2023. In 2016, Gishwati Mukura was officially designated as a national park, spanning an area of 35.6 square kilometers, which now holds the notable distinction of being home to some of the world's most lost animals. In 2020, the park was visited by only 10 tourists, but by 2023, the number has soared to over 340 people. Ninian Lois, who has been bringing tourists to Rwanda for the past 25 years, takes pride in the abundant options now available for tourists to explore and enjoy.
25 years ago, everybody came just to see the gorillas. But now you come to Rwanda and there's many more options. There's fantastic safari opportunities in Nyungwe Forest to see the chimpanzees. Akagera is going from strength to strength. It is really stabilized, and now you can see the Big Five in Akagera.
The Ellen DeGeneres campus of the Enofosi Gorilla Fund has been constructed in Kinigi to significantly enhance gorilla and wildlife conservation efforts. This state-of-the-art facility is equipped with advanced technology, allowing tourists to observe the gorillas without the need to trek up the volcano. Residents have played a crucial role in the preservation of the national parks, recognizing the benefits they bring. Since 2005, via Tourism Revenue Sharing Program, over 10 billion national parks have shared the revenues with their residents. This initiative has not only boosted the economy, but also enhanced the well-being of their families. We have received over 2.5 million here in our sector of Kinigi, which significantly boosted the economy and the welfare of the residents in those two sectors of Nyanza and Kinigi.
Mu myaka 30 ishize twahereye ku makoperative abiri yarafite abanyamuryango 37 ariko uyu munsi
In the last 30 years, we started from 2 cooperatives with 37 members, but now we have 45 cooperatives with over 4,000 members, whereas those cooperatives get the support of over 2 million Rwanda Rwandan francs in the last 15 years, which grew their capacity of that now they're generating revenues of 10 to 15 million Rwandan francs per year, which are literally generated from tourism that have been developed and well conserved. In addition to those benefits, many residents bordering the parks have been employed as tour guides and in transportation roles, increasing their awareness of the importance of preserving the ecosystem. Over the past 30 years, the tourism sector in Rwanda has witnessed a steady increase in the foreign currency earnings, correlating with the rise in tourist numbers. This growth has been contributed by campaigns such as Visit Rwanda, which promotes Rwandan tourism on the international stage. The figures indicate that in 2010, Rwanda hosted approximately 667,000 tourists who generated $224 million in revenue from the tourism sector. By contrast, in 2022, the number of tourists visiting Rwanda surged to 1 million, resulting in foreign currency earnings from tourism exceeding tenfold, reaching $455 million. According to Ninian Lewis, an expert in tourism, Rwanda is on the right track as the development of this sector is closely intertwined with that of the people.
If you look at Muzanzi, 25 years ago, it was a very, very small town. Now you drive through Muzanzi, there are traffic lights, there are tall buildings, 3 or 4 stories, there are busy people in the markets. The economy is really building, and I think a lot of that is due to the fact that the park has done such a good job looking after the gorillas and really lifting tourism and bringing tourism up.
In the last 19 years, 397 gorillas were born, unnamed, during a famous gorilla naming ceremony known as Kwitizina, honoring the rich biodiversity of Rwanda, including the highland gorillas. In 2017, when President Paul Kagame participated in this ceremony, he emphasized the importance of preserving the ecosystem for future generations. We have to protect our environment by conserving those gorillas and other animals, plus those forests, because when we protect them, we also get benefits from that. In addition to tourism centered around its national parks, Rwanda is currently placing priority on the development of rural activities that showcase its rich history, vibrant culture, and diverse natural landscapes. Adam Squizera, RTV News.
Thank you, Adam Squizera, for the detailed report, a reflection of Rwanda's tourism sector in the past 30 years. Moving ahead to health matters, officials in Rwanda's Ministry of Health have noted that increasing the number of people working in the country's health sector will help to not only ensure better service delivery, but also save lives by helping to detect serious conditions before they become fatal.
The Nyarurenzi Health Center caters to the needs of more than 22,000 people in Mageragere sector, Kicukiro district, including expectant mothers, and will soon be able to perform cesareans. The machine used for anesthesia is present, so is the operating table, but there are a few more things we need before we can begin providing that service. We receive between 60 and 70 women who come here to give birth, but we are forced to transfer around 40 of those to hospitals. We believe we will soon be able to significantly reduce the load on hospitals, and we hope it will be during this coming month. The Ministry of Health launched its 4x4 program 8 months ago with the objective of quadrupling the number of those working in the health sector in the next 4 years by increasing the workforce by as much as 48,000 people, providing much better health care, especially for children.
But the kids that we are seeing dying right now are kids who were born before when they're supposed to born, so premature children. Kids who are born with cardiac defects, their hearts have some issues. Those are mostly the children that are dying right now. So what do you do for that? Taking care of a sick newborn that is premature, you need to have very good, very well-trained midwives, because the first seconds after their birth is critical for resuscitation. After that, you need sophisticated equipment in the health facilities, which is the equipment part that the USAID director talked about here. It's very important to have these incubators and to have them close to the communities. Others is to invest in training. We've done 200 surgeries, but we need to train our people for cardiac surgery. Menelas has talked about a gentleman who's going to India to train for that. We also have others in other countries. So we are doing very hard things right now. They require a lot of investment, but the results will be quite significant in the future.
Health experts also recognize the need to put the proper infrastructure in place to make this possible.
When we enroll large number of students, infrastructure was a gap as well. Our classrooms were limited. We had to do some makeshift. So for that to happen again, now this year again, we are recruiting students now. For medicine, we have already recruited about 330 students, and we'll recruit more for GACO campus. For dentistry, we have already recruited 60-something students. So when you add up with the previous intake, the infrastructure gap is still there. We need to invest on transformation of education, where we can utilize innovative technologies.
Rwanda currently has 4,849 medical students, and 16 new specialist courses are also to be introduced in the near future.
Rwanda has introduced a digital system to store information on the immunization of children, replacing the physical cards that were being used, costing the government 300 million Rwandan francs annually.
The cards were proving a financial burden not just to the government but to parents as well, who were being required to pay for replacements when they lost them, which tends to happen often. Not to mention the hassle of having to retrieve information on a child when that happens, because digging up the handwritten records was time-consuming and a nuisance for busy health workers. The digital system that will soon be introduced is therefore being received with a sigh of relief by all involved, not least of all the government.
nk'uko ababyeyi babizi twajyaga dushyingira umwana akabona ikarita ifite ibara ry'umuhondo ari umwana bagenda bandikaho uko abona urukingo.
As parents know, children are being issued with yellow cards after being immunized that contained all the relevant information about each child, but everyone should know that a new system has been introduced and people immunizing their children have begun receiving messages on their phones with links to digital cards similar to the ones we were getting during the COVID-19 pandemic. This is a far better way for parents to store that information long-term and eliminate a huge cost for the government while protecting the environment, because those physical cards and registers are made of paper that, as you know, comes from trees. At least 300 million Rwandan francs is going to be saved each year. That was being spent on printing costs of those cards alone, all of which was being spent by the government because parents were not being charged anything for the original card. That money can now be directed to other important initiatives. Every year, as many as 300,000 children are immunized in Rwanda, each receiving 13 different vaccines that were all being recorded on handwritten forms.
To environmental matters, climate experts as well as others who visit the country do not agree with the contents of the World Air Quality Report, which placed Rwanda among the top 15 countries globally with polluted air. Various global ranking reports place Kigali City among the cleanest cities and one of the green cities in existence. Those who visit the country say the air quality in Kigali is good and better in the countryside.
I've been in Rwanda for the past 6 years. I think that compared to other cities in Africa, the air quality in Kigali is not so bad. However, when I go out of Kigali, I do feel the difference. You feel that the air is fresher once you get out of Kigali. So yes, there is a difference, but let's say compared to other cities in Africa, it is okay.
I've been here for the last 13 years. And I think that the air quality in Rwanda is great. Once again, compared to various places I've lived in Africa, I feel that it's much cleaner and it's fantastic. When you travel outside, it's much fresher, you know, and I think that one of the things that has contributed to this quality of air is afforestation. In other places, you see that trees are cut and so on, but in Rwanda, the story is different, and I think that is great. I enjoy the air here.
The 2023 World Air Quality Report, conducted by the Swiss organization, ranked Rwanda among 15 most polluted air based on the 30,000 stations in 134 countries around the world. Climate experts noted that they doubt the quality of equipment as well as the data used to conduct the report. They used sensors which were placed in stations like Sonatube, Kachiru, and in a restaurant. In that case, it can give you any results depending on the current situation, and that's not how you measure the entire country's pollution. As a researcher, I don't agree with the report. On the 10th of January this year, the Rwanda Environmental Management Authority revealed that there were high levels of air pollution in most parts of the country, which could cause different kinds of problems. In February, it again became clear that the air had polluted particles. The Rwanda Environmental Management Authority, REMA, says except that time, the country's air quality remains good.
Iyo bavuze ngo ibipimo ntarengwa by'umwuka ni ibipimo igihugu kiba cyarashyizeho ari byo twita national air quality standards.
When talking about national air quality standards, every pollutant has measurements. In the image we showed you, the maximum PM10 is at 50, and we are less in terms of the status. In other gases like ozone, we are below the maximum, which means the quality of air is relatively good. And according to the report, we are below the national standards, despite PM2.5 gas.
Warenze national standard.
Experts again point out that the country's air quality is relatively good. I recently conducted research all over the country. In the provinces, the quality of air is very good, with measures below 10 on average, especially that there are not many industries there. But even in the city of Kigali, we collected more than 6 million data, both in the city and all over the country, using static measures as well as mobile measurements. On average, we stand at 31. According to the report, only 7 countries in the world, including Mauritius in Africa, meet the air quality standards of the World Health Organization for PM2.5, which are the least visible air pollutants. Still on this matter, crops that were being grown in different marshlands in the city of Kigali are being removed so that traditional methods of farming can make way for large-scale modern practices. Kigali city officials say farmers who had been temporarily allowed to grow crops in the marshlands and then ignored announcements telling them to hold doing so are not going to be compensated because they were given ample time to harvest what they had been growing and instead decided to illegally plant crops despite being warned not to do so.
One of the marshlands that has begun to be cleared of the sugar canes, bananas, sweet potatoes, beans and other crops, as well as fish farms, is the one called Murindi in Gasabo district. And farmers that had been using it for different activities could do nothing more than watch as their crops were being destroyed, lamenting that they had not been given enough time to harvest and avoid the losses that they say are financially devastating. Kigali city authorities, however, have gone on record to refute this claim, saying the farmers had been repeatedly told that developmental farming projects were going to be implemented and that they should stop planting new crops, and some of them did heed the directives, but that others had simply ignored them, reasoning that major projects usually take long to implement and that there would be plenty of time to harvest any new crops, a risk they obviously should not have taken in light of what is now happening because they will not be compensated for the losses they are incurring. As much as 200 hectares of marshlands are now being prepared for the modern farming projects that are going to be implemented by investors that have already begun hiring local farmers to partner with them, with initial figures showing that more than 500 have already been hired by the modern farmers.
On behalf of the entire news production as well as the technical team that made it happen, many thanks for being with us. And up until next time, we wish you a safe and great and fruitful month ahead. Goodbye.